People think working actor means like they're slowly making their money on acting. And I'm like, no, working actor means, yeah, you're in SAG, you're SAG eligible, one of the two, and you have some credits behind your name, but it doesn't mean you're consistently working, because you're not always going to be on set every single day unless you're a series regular. And even then, if the show ends, then what? A lot of working actors still have regular jobs, are still doing the day-to-day daily grind, you know?
If you're a professional actor challenged by an increasingly fragmented industry, then this podcast is for you. The Hollywood Actor Podcast is an anthology made up of the stories of actors building their bodies of work by redefining themselves, reframing their goals, and reevaluating their opportunities. No matter where we are in our careers, we're always looking to be inspired and to share ourselves across our community. This podcast offers that opportunity to guests and to listeners alike as we all discover what it means to be a working, professional, successful actor. This is Jamie Young, and you're listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. Today's guest is Tara Bianco. Tara studied with acting coach Jeff Rose and continues to attend Los Angeles workshops. Her credits include FX's You're the Worst, the short film The Breakout, a rock opera, now on Amazon Prime Video, and multiple national commercials for Verizon, Walmart, and Wendy's. You can follow Tara on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Rumbl, and YouTube. Now let's hear from Hollywood actor Tara Bianco.
Growing up, I did start out as, that 3-year-old who wanted to dance, and then ultimately did a lot of dancing around the East Coast, North Carolina, Florida, stuff like that. So I already started traveling at a young age for dance competitions and conventions. And then once that kind of started dying off and I wasn't on a competing team anymore, I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I love performing and I love being someone else, because dancers are somebody else on stage, or yourself, embodying whatever emotion you need to portray. And so, there was a community theater that was putting on musicals. And so I started dabbling in that. And then that ultimately led me to oh my gosh, I really do love acting. I want to get more into it. And so then all along the East Coast, up until I was probably 16 or 17, I did a lot of acting workshops with casting directors, with working actors. One of the working actors that I will say, helped me the most, his name is Jeff Rose. He just recently did, I think it's High School with Kevin Hart, right? Or Night School, that's what it was. Yeah, so he just did that with him, but I took from him almost 10 years ago. And I tell you, there's something different about working actors teaching or coaching aspiring actors. Because right now, I do that a little bit with coaching after having so many years of training. And he taught me more than I feel like I have learned from any casting director workshop, something like that, because he's on set and he's doing it, So I really, if people ever want to train, I want someone who's in the business right now. Oh, you're going on a shoot tomorrow. That's the person that I would want to take with, in my personal opinion, because they're active. And so that's what I did with him for a couple years. And then that was my training. I didn't really take classes or deep scene studying like they have out here in LA, because it just wasn't on the East Coast. It was a different time about 10 plus years ago for acting and getting into the industry, especially in the Georgia, North Carolina, Florida area. So once I decided that I wanted to live in LA, which ultimately was for music at first, but that the ship sailed for sure. I came out to LA. I didn't do any acting. I did a couple casting director workshops, but then I just got lucky and signed with a manager, and then he started submitting me. And that's kind of how I got in with it. There hasn't been like a huge in-depth training for me, but that was kind of how it all started.
Well, you're finding those different workshops up and down the East Coast, you were saying, and then you found that mentor. Where was he based?
He was based in Atlanta.
Okay. And were you seeing Georgia really come up as you were growing up from dancing and then segueing into acting? You were seeing that incentivized state?
Yeah, I was, because that was right about where Tyler Perry, wow, my mouth had a seizure, where Tyler Perry had, it's when House of Pain started going, Meet the Browns, all of that. So he started blowing up around that time, and his name was everywhere in Atlanta. And then you had like the Purvis agencies and them, and like the People's Store, and it was like those were like the top ones that you just kept hearing about, and everyone's like, it's growing, it's getting bigger, and so I was surrounded by the up and coming of it all. And now, I mean, it's booming. There's a lot of stuff going on in Atlanta right now, which is amazing. But I did get to see it kind of start progressing, and everyone's like, whoa, is something happening here now? So that was very interesting.
Yeah, I think someone told me the number the other day. 10 casting directors are in Georgia now. And I don't know if they offer workshops and, regularly, or if a lot of actors that started in Georgia come to LA, bounce back and start helping up and coming actors are enriching that talent pool. I mean, it seems to me that would be the way for these incentivized states to really help grow those above the line talent pools and ensure the stability of those industries within those markets.
Well, I did hear that Atlanta is becoming so much more popular, especially with actors wanting to live in Atlanta now, that even Atlanta isn't doing local hires anymore as much as they used to, because they don't need to get people from Florida to drive up to Atlanta, because the talent pool is growing, and it's growing consistently. So it is another area that everyone is potentially like thinking about moving to. It's a possibility, because it's just a different field, like LA is very commercial, and obviously like, those studio shows with like a lot of like seasoned actors. But if you're not consecutively on that, Atlanta is another one that is taking more up and coming actors, I feel like. So it's very tricky on where you are deciding that you want to go to. But I'm very intrigued. Like, I wouldn't mind moving to Atlanta just to kind of see how it is. Like, if I knew I could get an agency like right away, if I had like the ins, I would try it out for a year.
Well, you said you were moving around the South. I didn't know if you were based in Atlanta back in the day.
No, so I was based in South Carolina. I grew up and lived on Hilton Head Island for 18 years of my life. And so I would just always be traveling. Almost every single weekend, I would be traveling up to Atlanta or potentially Florida for auditions. And my parents would just drive me, because they had the job that they were able to take off and go ahead and take me somewhere if I needed to. So I understood it. It wasn't at the level as LA is, but I started getting into it and understanding what was happening. But there was a lot of traveling.
Yeah. Was your high school on the island?
Yes.
Wow.
And so, but mostly, thankfully, a lot of the stuff was like either after school or on the weekends for me. So I wasn't really missing too much school, but I did have to leave my public school for the last 2 years and switch to a private school. Number one, because of missing class for like either auditions or performances, stuff like that. But also I was a subject to bullying, and it wasn't only by, the students, it was by administration, which is a wow factor. So I had to go to a private school that was centered towards whatever career field that you're going into. I guess kind of like a magnet or charter school, something like that, but very different. Still just very different.
And you were transitioning from that to a community theater that was nearby that magnet school? Was that a little bit more welcoming, a little bit more of a community atmosphere?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, my community theater growing up was absolutely like the best years of my life. I met so many amazing people. I mean, granted, we're all teenagers, so definitely there's cliques and stuff, and sometimes those teenage angst gets you. But looking back on it now, they were like it was like my saving grace. I will say I would do community theater, but there was also an equity theater located on the island where they would go and audition New York actors to come and perform and like house them for 2 months for rehearsing and then performing. So one of the directors really liked me and would put me in the ensemble or understudy sometimes. And it was
No
amazing
way.
because So
Wow.
some of the people that I know, like they've been on Broadway and they're doing national tours. Yeah,
Right.
like the genie on Broadway right now. Like that was my vocal coach. Just saying. So shout out to Deontay. He's phenomenal. And he was Seaweed and Hairspray, and I was Tammy understudy, and I got to perform a couple times as one of the nicest kids when I was 16. It was great. Loved it so much. But yeah.
And that was your first really plugging into the professional world of acting.
Yes.
With this equity playhouse, of which there are so few. A lot of people that are listening to this podcast are probably early career actors, actors that are maybe finding their way within the different subsets of acting. But we can both attest that there are fewer and fewer equity playhouses in this country. It's a hard row to hoe. And to be able to have such a playhouse within your local community and being ingratiated into that right out of high school is just such a vibrant experience and can really show you what the best of American theater and America's performing arts has to offer you right off the bat.
And it's really nice because our whole community loves gathering around the actors that are coming to the island to perform. And so sometimes there will be restaurants that are like, oh my gosh, we would love to have you for your opening night party and like come over here. We'll celebrate you guys. And then there's like the actors can go and get like a lot of discounts on things around the island because everyone looks forward to that. Like it's a very high rate of like retired people that live where I grew up, but also it's very tourist attraction town as well. So you get a mixture, and all like 4 or 5 shows that they put on throughout the year, like they already have a built-in base of almost every single night is going to be sold out because everyone just looks forward to seeing these phenomenal actors that if they can't make it all the way to New York. Well, here you go is the next best thing. And I'm telling you, our peeps on Hilton Head, the Art Center, they cast so brilliantly. I have seen other equity shows out here in California, actually, where I was like, they cannot compare to my equity theater back home. It's amazing. The people that this one director that I always loved working with, Casey Colgan, he knows talent so well, and he knows how to bring it out of people. And so many of the people that I have seen that I've worked with, like they're all still actively doing this as their careers. They're touring, they're being main leading roles in these musicals that they're putting on. Like they are on it. And so it was just so amazing to see that at a young age.
Did that cause you to relocate to anywhere else in the Southeast?
No. I stayed right in South Carolina because my parents couldn't move. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, this is after you graduated high school.
Well, right after I graduated high school, I moved out to LA, like immediately, 3 weeks
immediately.
after.
Oh, right. So you were working at an equity playhouse during high school. So now I know why the administration was a little bit cross with you. You were probably missing out on a couple exams, a couple classes. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
What made you move immediately from high school to Los Angeles?
Oh, I couldn't take my island anymore. I was so bored. I needed a change, and I had a music manager that was interested in me and had me like record some songs and whatnot. And they're like, "You're going to be the next pop star." I'm like, "Okay." And so I moved to LA to kind of start doing that. That was just a big failure because, if you get with the wrong manager, it can really screw you up.
And that's what I did. He was not good at all. He's still in the game. Funny story. And so, you know me, I have the podcast No Holding Back. I will totally not hold back one bit on my relationship with my manager, my music manager. His name is a race car driver's name, if y'all want to know that. But he was so terrible towards me, and I would never, ever, ever have anything good to say about him, but he's still in the game right now, apparently, because someone that was my neighbor at a previous apartment complex said, "Hey, were you represented by this guy?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "How is he?" I'm like, "Terrible, why?" She's like, "Well, he's interested in one of my friends." I was like, "Absolutely not, do not do it. He is the worst human being on earth." And like, I just immediately, like, I don't care who I'm telling this to. But for the year and a half, the first year and a half that I was out here, I was under his management and going through like all of this terrible, depressive time with him acting as my manager. The only good thing came out of it is that he introduced me to my current acting manager right now. So we let him go, and then my acting manager and I have still continued on, and that's the guy who has got me to the co-stars that I have and some little shorts that I've done. So yeah, it was good. It was like, you know, you have to go through the bad to experience the joy.
Yeah. And that's a big part of the podcast, is talking about those types of stories, because those are the stories that don't make headlines. They're not in the tabloids. They're not as sensational. They're the ups and downs that we have to go through, like you're saying. And
I fully believe that, you know, I love that you focus in on not just the tabloids and the fame and the glory and all of that, because you could easily just say, "Oh, what have you done? Oh, that's great. Tell me about those." But it's like, no, but what did I have to do to get those? Where am I at now? I love hearing about real stories and what people are going through on a day-to-day basis rather than what they're excelling at, because when you just see people being successful constantly and you don't actually see the struggles that went behind it as well and the realness, it eats at you. Like, I hate seeing people just consistently post success, because I'm like, I guarantee you that's not what it is, but you're making me feel like I'm doing something wrong in my life because I'm not success, you know?
And if you want to deal in that fantasy, you can, but this is a place for education for these really meaty stories that are engaging. And I was just hearing this quote from FDR that said, you know, if we compare our insides to everybody's outsides, there is going to be that misalignment, because they don't equate. What we project outwards, or what we even are visibly communicating, isn't what we're internally feeling. It's just a disconnect. So for whatever that's worth. Thanks for listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening.